All of us have fear. Every one of us have fear. If you don't have fear, the reason why you don't have fear is because you haven't shared your faith yet. But every one of us who have shared our faith, raise your hand. If you're scared or afraid to share your faith, raise your hand. If you don't have your hand up, it's because you haven't done it yet. Paul came to the Corinthian church with much fear and trembling, it says in 1 Corinthians 2:3. Paul came to the Corinthian church with much fear and trembling. That Greek word for fear is phobos, like arachnophobia. It's the only fear I have legitimately. Spiders eat people, so I'm afraid of them. Snakes, no problem. I just grab it and I don't care. But spiders, they just... Okay, so my point is, everyone has fear. The enemy is not fear. The enemy this morning is shame. Fear is actually the ally for our faith and for our walk with Christ. Why? See, fear is a barrier. If there is no fear, there is no need to be bold or courageous. So what courage does, what fear does is boldness helps us go through fear. The enemy is not fear. Fear is our ally. Fear makes me study more. Fear brings me here this morning so I can learn how to do this stuff more. That's what fear does to me. Fear makes me learn. My brother is an agnostic, upgraded to agnostic recently. And so I've studied my face off to try to lead him to the Lord. So I've learned a bunch of material that I'm going to share with you this morning because I want to lead him to the Lord. But I'm afraid sometimes to share my faith, and so I need courage. The enemy is not fear, though. The enemy is shame. That's why Romans 1:16, Paul says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes, first for the Jew, then for the Gentile." So the enemy is shame. Shame is a different kind of fear. Shame is fear of what people think of me. And selfishness is a top enemy to you sharing your faith. When you're afraid of what other people think, remember what Peter said when he was taken in Acts chapter 5 and he was on trial for preaching the gospel? And Peter said, we must obey God rather than men. Shame says we must obey men rather than God. And shame is our number one enemy in sharing our faith. I don't want to be ashamed because the gospel is the power of God. That word power in the Greek is the word dunamos, which is where we get the word dynamite from. And that dynamite, so all we do when we share our faith is we light a fuse and we stick it right in a person's soul. And the Lord's job to save people, not ours. It's just our job to correctly handle the word of truth and help them to understand.